You've been to the doctor, you've done the blood work, you've even tried the specialist, and yet you're still tired, still inflamed, still bloated, foggy, anxious, hormonal, or just off. They tell you your labs look normal, that it's probably stress. Or worse, they suggest antidepressants or birth controls, and they send you on your way. Let me say this loud and clear. You are not crazy. You are not making it up. And you're definitely not broken. You just live inside a system that was never designed to catch the root cause of what you're dealing with. Today, I'm going to break down why your doctor can't figure out your mystery symptoms and what it actually takes to get to the root and heal. But first, let me tell you about Rachel. Rachel spent 3 years going from one doctor to another doctor with a list of symptoms that seemed completely unrelated. Brain fog so thick she couldn't remember conversations from the day before. Digestive issues that had her afraid to even eat in public. Anxiety that came out of nowhere and left her feeling like she was losing her mind. She saw her primary care doctor, who ran basic labs, told her everything looked normal. She saw a gastroenterologist, diagnosed her with IBS, right? IBS, everybody, and gave her fiber supplement. She saw a psychiatrist who prescribed antidepressants. She saw an endocrinologist who said her hormones were within range. Each specialist looked at their piece of the puzzle, but no one was looking at Rachel as a whole person. No one was asking why a previously healthy 34-year-old suddenly developed multiple seemingly unrelated symptoms. Rachel started to believe what the doctors were implying, that maybe it really was all in her head. Maybe she was just stressed. Maybe this was just what getting older felt like. But Rachel wasn't imagining her symptoms. And this isn't what normal aging looks like. Rachel was experiencing what millions of women experience every day. Functional breakdown that conventional medicine is not designed to detect or to treat. The truth is, there are 3 fundamental flaws in how conventional medicine approaches complex symptoms. And once you understand these flaws, you'll see why your doctors keep missing what's really wrong. The medical system excels at acute care. Things like heart attacks, broken bones, car accidents. When you have a clear disease with obvious markers, conventional medicine can be life-saving. But when it comes to fatigue, hormonal shifts, brain fog, gut issues, histamine reactivity, skin flares, anxiety, mood swings, the system often comes up empty. Why? Because these aren't diseases. They're signals of deeper dysfunction in your internal terrain. Here's how it works. You go to your doctor with multiple symptoms. They run standard labs looking for disease markers. When those labs come back normal, they conclude nothing is wrong with you. But here's what they are missing. You can be exhausted and still have a normal thyroid panel. You can be inflamed and still have normal inflammatory markers. You can have parasites, mold toxicity, or mitochondrial dysfunction, and none of it will show up on standard tests. The system is looking for the end stage of disease, not the early stages of dysfunction. It's like waiting for your car engine to completely seize before acknowledging there might be a problem instead of paying attention to the warning lights on your dashboard. Your symptoms are those warning lights. They're your body's way of telling you something is out of balance before it becomes an engine failure, right? But even when doctors do run labs, there's a second fundamental flaw that keeps them from seeing what's really happening in your body. And this flaw is so pervasive that most doctors don't even realize they're missing critical information. The labs aren't telling the full story, and most doctors are only looking at a tiny piece of the puzzle. When you go to your doctor with fatigue, they might run a basic thyroid panel. Usually it's just going to be TSH. When you complain about hormonal issues, they might check your estrogen, your progesterone at one random point in your cycle. When you mention digestive problems, they might test for celiac disease or run a basic stool sample. But they miss the big picture. They don't check how your body is actually converting and metabolizing hormones. They don't look at free T3, free T4, or reverse T3 to see how your thyroid is actually functioning at the cellular level. They don't test for mineral deficiencies that could be causing your fatigue. They don't check for mold toxicity, parasite activity, or mitochondrial dysfunction. And here's the real kicker. Even when they do run those tests, they're using reference ranges based on a sick population. These ranges are so wide, you can be suffering significantly and still fall within normal limits. For example, the reference range for TSH might be 0.5 to 5.0, but optimal function is usually between 1 and 2. You could have a TSH of 4.5 and still be experiencing significant hypothyroid symptoms and be told you're fine because you're technically within that range. It's like saying that as long as your car can still move, it's running perfectly, even if it's making strange noises. The engine is misfiring, and it can barely make it up a hill. You don't want normal. You want optimal. And optimal function requires looking at the whole picture, not just checking a few boxes on a standard lab panel. So if conventional medicine is missing the real causes of your symptoms, where are these mystery symptoms actually coming from? The answer might surprise you because what seems mysterious to your doctor is actually quite predictable when you understand how the body really works. Mystery symptoms aren't mysterious at all. They're signals of a congested, toxic, and overburdened terrain. And once you understand this, everything starts to make sense. Think of your body like a city. When a city's infrastructure is working well, the roads are clear, the waste management system is functioning, the power grid is stable, everything's running smoothly. But when the infrastructure starts to break down, you get things like traffic jams, garbage piling up, and power outages. Your body has its own infrastructure. Your lymphatic system for waste removal, your liver for detoxification, your mitochondria for energy production, your nervous system for coordination. When this infrastructure gets overwhelmed or damaged, you start experiencing symptoms. Here's what I see again and again in the women with mystery symptoms that come to me. Parasites stealing nutrients and releasing toxins that trigger inflammation and brain fog. Mold toxins blocking mitochondrial function and hijacking hormone receptors. Lymphatic stagnation trapping the waste and contributing to puffiness, acne, anxiety. Poor bile flow leading to hormone recirculation and digestive issues. Mitochondrial dysfunction at the root of chronic fatigue and poor detoxification capacity. Your body isn't broken, it's burdened. And when you understand that these symptoms are intelligent communication from your body about what needs attention, you stop fighting them and you start responding strategically. Here's what's really frustrating. Even when you suspect these deeper issues might be causing your symptoms, most doctors don't know how to test for them properly. And that's because there's a third fundamental flaw in how conventional medicine approaches complex health issues. They're trained to suppress symptoms, not address root causes. And this approach keeps you stuck in a cycle of temporary fixes that never actually solve the problem. When you go to your doctor with anxiety, they prescribe anti-anxiety medication. If you have digestive issues, they give you acid blockers or fiber supplements. When you have hormonal symptoms, they offer birth control or hormone replacement. But none of these approaches ask the most important question: why is this happening in the first place? It's like having a smoke alarm going off in your house. And instead of looking for the fire, you just take the batteries out of the smoke alarm. Symptom is gone, underlying problem is still there, and often getting worse. This symptom suppression approach creates a cascade of new problems. Acid blockers reduce your ability to digest and properly absorb nutrients, leading to deficiencies that cause more symptoms. Birth control disrupts your natural hormone production. It shuts it off completely and depletes key nutrients like B vitamins and magnesium. Anti-anxiety meds can affect your microbiome and neurotransmitter production. Meanwhile, the root cause, whether it's parasites, mold toxicity, nutrient deficiencies, nervous system dysfunction, those continue to create havoc in your system. The most heartbreaking part of all of this is that what happens to women who get trapped in the system, they start to doubt themselves. They question their own experience, and they believe that feeling terrible is just their new normal. But there's something specific about this experience that makes it even more damaging. You start to believe you're the problem. And this psychological damage can be just as harmful as the physical symptoms themselves. When doctor after doctor tells you that labs are normal, and it's probably just stress, that you should maybe try some antidepressants or, hey, just relax, you start to internalize the message you're overreacting, you're being dramatic, or you're imagining things. You start to doubt your body's own signals. You stop advocating for yourself because you've been made to feel like you're a difficult patient. You start accepting a diminished quality of life because you've been told this is just how things are. I've worked with women who apologize for having symptoms, who feel guilty for seeking help, who've been gaslit so thoroughly by the medical system that they've lost trust in their own experience. It happens when the limitations of the medical system are projected onto the patient. Instead of acknowledging that they don't have the tools or the training to address complex multi-system dysfunction, practitioners make those patients feel like the problem is their perception, not their physiology. But here's what I want you to understand. If you're experiencing symptoms, something is happening in your body. Your symptoms are real, your symptoms are valid, and they are meaningful. They are not character flaws. They are not psychological weaknesses. They're biological feedback that deserves to be heard and addressed. So what does real healing look like when you're dealing with complex multi-system symptoms that your conventional medicine doctor cannot figure out? The answer requires a completely different approach, one that looks at your body as an interconnected system rather than a collection of separate parts and pieces. Real healing starts with understanding that your body is incredibly intelligent and always trying to heal itself. Our job is not to suppress its signals or to override its processes. It's to remove those obstacles that are preventing natural healing from occurring in the first place. Here's how this approach works. First, we start with drainage. If your body can't eliminate waste effectively, nothing else will stick. This means supporting bile flow so your liver can process toxins and hormones, ensuring daily, complete bowel movements so waste doesn't get reabsorbed, moving the lymphatic system so cellular waste can be cleared, supporting kidney function and mitochondrial energy production. Next, we regulate the nervous system. Healing doesn't happen when your body's stuck in fight or flight mode. We use specific techniques like grounding, light therapy, mineral support, and circadian rhythm restoration to help your nervous system shift into the parasympathetic state, where repair and regeneration can occur. Then we support mitochondrial energy production because detox and repair require energy. If you're depleted at the cellular level, your body is not going to have an effective healing response. We provide the specific nutrients your mitochondria need to function optimally. Only after we've established this foundation do we then gently identify and clear underlying pathogens and toxins, things like parasites, mold, viruses, heavy metals, chemical exposure. But we do this strategically, when your terrain is strong enough to handle the process without creating more symptoms. But there's something else that happens when you take the approach that goes beyond just resolving symptoms. There's a transformation that occurs that changes your entire relationship with your body and your health. You learn to read your body's signals as feedback, not failures. This shift in perspective is often more healing than any protocol or any supplement will be. When you understand that symptoms are communication, you stop being afraid of them and you start getting curious about them. Instead of panicking when you feel tired, you ask what your body might need. More rest, better nutrition, stress reduction, or support for an underlying issue. Instead of feeling betrayed by your body when symptoms flare, you recognize that your body's trying to protect you by alerting you to something that needs attention. This doesn't mean you ignore symptoms or you just accept feeling terrible by any means. It means you develop a collaborative relationship with your body instead of an adversarial one. I've seen women transform not just their physical health, but their entire sense of self-trust and empowerment when they learn to work with their body instead of against it. Take one of my clients, Maria, who came to me after years of being told her symptoms were just stress. She had chronic fatigue, digestive issues, brain fog, anxiety that no doctor could explain. Through the terrain-based approach, we discovered that she had parasites, she had mold toxicity, and severe mineral deficiencies. But the real transformation wasn't just that her symptoms resolved. It was that she learned to trust her body again. She stopped apologizing for having needs. She stopped accepting suboptimal health as normal. She became her own best advocate. And here's the most empowering part. Once you understand how your body really works and what it needs to heal, you don't have to depend on doctors who don't understand complex symptoms. You become your own best healer. You develop the knowledge and tools to support your body's natural healing processes, regardless of whether conventional medicine catches up to what you're experiencing. This doesn't mean you avoid medical care when you need it. It means you become an informed participant in your own health, rather than a passive recipient of whatever diagnosis or treatment you're offered. You learn to ask better questions. What might be causing this symptom? What does my body need to heal? How can I support my terrain so my body can do what it's designed to do? You develop a toolkit of strategies for supporting drainage, regulating your nervous system, nourishing your mitochondria, and maintaining optimal terrain. You know how to read your body's signals and how to respond appropriately. Most importantly, you stop waiting for permission from the medical system to feel better. You take responsibility for your own healing while working with practitioners who understand and support the approach. What if I told you there was a completely different way to approach mysterious symptoms? One that doesn't involve years of doctor visits, normal lab results, and being told nothing is wrong when you clearly don't feel right. There is. It's called terrain-based healing. And it's the approach I use with all my clients who've been failed by conventional medicine. Instead of looking for disease, we look for dysfunction. Instead of suppressing symptoms, we listen to them. Instead of treating isolated body parts, we address the whole system. Instead of using reference ranges based on sick populations, we aim for optimal function. This approach recognizes that your body is an interconnected ecosystem, not a machine with replaceable parts. When one system is out of balance, it affects everything else. When we restore balance to the terrain, the body's natural healing intelligence can take over. The women who understand this approach don't just get their symptoms resolved. They often end up healthier than they've ever been. And that transformation is possible for you too. I've seen women go from years of medical mystery to complete clarity about what their body needs. From feeling like their body was working against them to feeling like they're working as a team. From accepting diminished health as normal to experiencing vibrant energy and well-being. Emily came to me after 5 years of unexplained symptoms that had stumped multiple specialists. Chronic fatigue, brain fog, digestive issues, hormonal chaos, and anxiety that seemed to come out of nowhere. She'd been told it was perimenopause, it was stress, it was depression, everything except what it actually was. Through comprehensive testing and the terrain-based approach, we discovered she had multiple parasites, mold toxicity, and severe nutrient deficiencies that were creating this cascade of symptoms throughout her whole body. Within 6 months of addressing these root causes, Emily felt like a completely different person. Her energy returned, her brain fog cleared, her digestion normalized, and her anxiety disappeared. But more than that, she felt empowered and confident in her ability to maintain her health moving forward. And this transformation is available to you right now. You don't have to wait for conventional medicine to catch up. You don't have to accept feeling terrible as your new normal. If you're ready to finally understand what's going on in your body and to stop living in fear of symptoms that no one can explain, I want you to watch my story. I share how I went from full body swelling, unexplained heart failure, to reversing my symptoms naturally and rebuilding my energy for real. I'll show you exactly what I learned.